Yo, what is up? Rockstar Gaming here with another video on DBSV. SZ. Yes, Sparking Zero. So, here we are. This one's going to be very quick. It's one thing, but it's one very important thing. Um, Super counters. Super counters, obviously one of the most important mechanics in the game. It is the most consistent defensive option for when you're getting comboed, and one of the only it's the no yeah one of the only ways to break out of getting comboed from behind. Getting comboed from behind, if you don't already know, is pretty much one of the most guaranteed ways to get huge amounts of damage on your opponent without them really being able to do much about it. When you're getting comboed from the front, you can revenge counter, you can perception, super perception, and just block. Like if there's a gap in the string, you can hold block and then it'll catch the gap. That being said, super counter is very difficult to do because it is a 4-frame window. Very, very short timing. So that means that you only have 1/4 or 4/60ths of a second to accurately hit a counter window. So in learning this, I was like, oh, that's kind of crazy. I was trying to practice it and found a really cool way to practice it that's a lot easier for people than what people normally would do. And it's this. You might have to buy this from the shop, but when you go to training options, then option settings, set your opponent settings to revenge counters. What's going to happen is your opponent, every single time they get hit by anything, they will only do revenge counters. And revenge counters will happen just immediately, and you get to initiate when it happens. So you're like, it's just a good training method. Make sure you set their skill gauge to max because they're using up the skill count every single time they do it. But in practicing with this, first off, it's so much better than any other way to practice it, and you really get a sense for the timing. I might butcher this because I just come back to the game right now, but in practicing this, I noticed something really cool and interesting. So as you probably already know, revenge count or super counters are triggered by pressing up and square at the same time, and you must press up with a new input. You cannot hold it, otherwise it will not register. But there is one scenario in which you can hold it. And so far, it's the only one I found, and I think I know why it works this way. But when an opponent revenge counters you, you can actually just hold up and then press square. And it doesn't have to be like crazy exact timing. And I think it's because it's like a time skip, like time stops for a second. And the only things you can do in that window of time, there's no other defensive options against revenge counters except for a super counter against them or the super perception, which will use up 2 bars of your skill count. So I'm going to show you right now. This is the super perception, which everyone's probably seen.
That won't be enough to slow me down.
So boom, and here's that's not the other one. So as you could see, that's like the normal thing, and that uses up 2 skill count. You can't see the meter go down right now because of the settings, but check this out. Did you see that? That was a super counter, or a revenge counter, excuse me. That first one,
Not going to work.
it's probably going to happen every single time. Revenge counters, people don't use them as much yet because of the cost of using them, but they're extremely good at like forcing your way out of a scenario where you're getting comboed from the front and you need to switch out your character. So if you're on the offensive side and you know someone's trying to do that, you could bait it out. But all that being said, this super counter, I'm gonna put the controller close to my mic so you can hear it. The timing is so loose on using super counters against revenge counters. So here it is right now.
Not going to work.
So you heard I even tried to do it twice. The first one was like amazingly easy. I can hold up on the first one, tapping square as long as I press square after he starts the animation, it automatically will trigger in queue. So yeah, just a cool little fun fact about super counters. Now aside from that, the 4-frame window, one way that I've been practicing getting it really good is obviously it's not the exact same for every attack that you hit, but you want to look at the point of contact. So for Goku's animation for his revenge counter, he uses elbow and I spin him,
You're going down.
right? So I'm looking to see right when like his arm momentum starts going towards me. And then I'm just being aware like 4 frames literally means like right as his elbow is like just making contact to my body is when I press the button. And hopefully I can get this right.
Not going to work.
Not that time. Not that either.
Gotcha. Not going to work. You're going down. Not going to work. Gotcha.
So you saw that. That was 3 or 4 in a row. Obviously, that's because I know the rhythm and I see it and it's right in front of me. But this game is very rhythmic based because when someone's doing a combo, it's usually the rhythm that you're trying to track in order to get a revenge counter off. And sometimes the big characters are actually harder to counter because their rhythm is so slow. Unless you really lock into what the rhythm is, but it's a 4 frame window for every input. So anyway, all that being said, hopefully this was helpful, and just to keep this short, I am signing out. Thanks again.